Gary.
What's up? How you doing?
How you doing? Good, man. All right, hang on. Let me just start recording here. If everybody has questions for Gary Clark, if you could raise your hand in the chat, we will get started. Not in the chat, in the Zoom. You know what I mean at this point. We're going to start with Chris Hayes, Orlando Sentinel.
Hey, GC, how you doing?
Good. How about yourself?
Pretty good. So I guess you caught the biggest fish, right? How big was that?
I think it was like 3.5 pounds. It was the biggest one so far.
Now, what was the deal? Did Mo steal the fish and try to get a picture with it? Was that your fish? He was with the picture?
Him and Ed and Boots came out after we had team dinner, and I caught one. Like I was using some kind of lure. They left at the dock, and I snagged one right when everyone's down there. And Mo, being from New York, I guess he never touched a fish, so he wanted to touch it. So he claimed it. I knew as soon as he asked for a picture, I was like, oh, he's going to claim this fish.
Let's go to Dan Savage, OrlandoMagic.com.
How's your fishing experience prior? Was that something you did often as a kid, or have you kept up with it as you've gone along?
I started fishing when I was like real young, and then I didn't pick it back up until I got to like high school, fishing with my buddies. But like that's all I do back home. If I'm not playing basketball, I'm fishing. People can't find me back home in North Carolina because we live in the country. So typically I'm away from like society for a while. My phone has no service, so it's a little peaceful time. So I do it quite a lot.
What's the biggest fish you've ever caught?
It's actually during quarantine. I was out at my grandpa's house and I caught like an 8.5 pound bass. It's in my freezer right now. Still waiting for it to get mounted.
Josh Cohen, OrlandoMagic.com.
So obviously you're the best fisherman on the Magic right now, but if you had to pick who's second on that list based on what you've seen so far, who would be the second best fisherman on the Magic right now?
Probably BJ, but me and BJ have been out a couple times, but T. Ross came out yesterday messing around and caught like 2 real fast. And BJ was hot because BJ hadn't caught anything all day. So T. Ross might have some hidden talent that he just hasn't tapped in yet when it comes to fishing.
Back to Chris Hayes.
Gary, where'd you catch that 8-pounder?
It was in Andrew, North Carolina. It's about 40 minutes from Raleigh. I live out, like, my family's from Clayton, but I live out in Wake Forest area, which is about 50 minutes from Andrew. I go down every weekend to see my grandpa and my grandmother, they have a pond on their land that they live on, and nobody's ever fished it because it's like private property. And I've caught, like, the fish after that I was actually scared of what was on the other end of the line because it was pulling so hard. So it was one of those moments where I was almost like, is this a beaver? Or what's going on? But I was terrified, but it had to be bigger than my 8.5 pound bass. But I lost it right at the bank.
All right, Gary, so back to the floor. Coach says he's going to expand the lineup, use a lot more players in rotation. Is that exciting for you to get more into the fold?
Yeah, it's huge because, right before this pandemic came out, I went from playing a lot to, having like a little stint where I didn't play much. And, just with the experience now to start up from training camp, learning from the ground up with the rest of the guys, it's refreshing for them. But, it's kind of a, first day of school for me to be able to get everything down, the terminology and the execution offensively as well, just to know like more than what I'm not just thrown in the fire and trying to catch it on the swivel while we're trying to like win games and, study for games and teams that we're about to play. But now it's like all just, just getting our stuff down. So it's really exciting for me to know that I'm like, I'm well educated to be able to, come in and contribute defensively and offensively.
Josh Robbins, The Athletic.
Gary, I'm wondering if you could please describe how powerful the call was with Desmond Meade of the Florida Rights Restoration Coalition, if you recall that call and the potential that partnership has.
It was very inspirational, just to hear this story for one, but to, learn some of the things that he talked about, the steps that he had to go through to be as powerful as he is today, and just, the reminding us of the platform we have, especially here in Florida with the history of the voting that goes on here. It's just, you know, he just kind of informed us a lot in that area, and that, you know, us guys, and we had no idea that, you know, those things were, you know, possible for us with our platform with Orlando Magic and, you know, the state of Florida. So it was very inspirational. I think that was one of the most like powerful Zoom meetings we've had. You know, we had probably 10 plus during the whole pandemic. So that one was very, you know, everybody was eyes and ears the whole time.
Dan Savage.
Gary, the team welcomed Markel Fultz back to practice today. You know, how nice was it to see him out there and just see, you know, another face in general back out with you at the campus?
Oh, it's huge. We feel complete. You know, guys were joking around, you know, in our little group message, you know, when you first get here, you got a 36-hour quarantine. And this morning he texted us right away. He was like, I'm free. And everyone like typed in free Kale, free Kale. My guy's free. So it's huge to have him back now on the court because, you know, he's one of the floor generals along with our other point guards. But, you know, he just, you know, brings a different dynamic to our group on and off the court that, you know, it feels good to have him here.
Josh Cohen, OrlandoMagic.com.
You guys had the league's #1 offense in the final 12 games before the hiatus. What changed for you guys during that stretch, and what will be the key to playing that well offensively once games resume?
Our ball movement was huge, you know, making the simple plays, you know, and trusting each other. I think was huge on that last 12 games, you know, just being able to, you know, get to the next option. You know, when one thing doesn't happen, you know, getting rid of it and just, you know, playing with purpose. I think, you know, a lot of times when we try to play in flow, it was just kind of like nobody had purpose. It was just kind of like, all right, let me just move to here or let me just do this. But now, you know, in that time, guys were really moving with purpose, you know, reading the defense and, you know, executing at a high level.
We have time for 2 more. Josh Robbins.
Gary, as you can tell by these questions, we're fascinated by the fishing. And judging on your fishing expertise, it seems like a bunch of guys caught a bunch of fish. Do you get the sense that maybe Disney is overstocking these ponds to make, I don't know, make everybody happy? Does that make sense? Or that there are more fish in those ponds than in a regular pond?
I don't know. That's a good question. You know, in my fishing history, you know, from information I got from, I ask a million questions when I go out and fishing just to kind of like get an advantage. And the guide I had said that they hadn't been able to fish the pond in 3 months, 3-4 months throughout this hiatus. So we're the first people to fish it. So now, like, these fish are used to, you know, being fed at the end of each day, the bait that's left over from charters. So now for the last 4 months, they haven't had those, like, you know, that lunch from the fishing charter. So now they're in a frenzy of eating because now it's like different things going in the water. So we were just blessed to be the first people to fish these hungry fish right now.
Okay, last one for Chris Hayes, bait and tackle.
Hey, I've been out there. It's like fish in a barrel at Disney. But Gary, when you're a senior, you're I think maybe even conference player of the year that year, if not at least first team. What's it like for a guy in that kind of a role for your college to go into the NBA and be in the role you are now?
I actually had a conversation with Coach earlier today, you know, speaking on, like, you know, how can I be successful on this team or just in the NBA? And the huge role I had in Cincinnati, you know, my senior year, just being player of the year, defensive player of the year, and sportsmanship. You know, I think I didn't have one game scoring over 20 points. So scoring isn't, you know, I'm not a stat guy that, you know, believes in, you know, I'm on a high if I score a lot of points. I think my role there and now is just being a reliable player. You know, at the end of the day, when you put Gary on the court, he's going to hold defensive presence, and he's going to be able to let our offense flow, you know, smooth out there. You know, at the end of the game, the beginning of the game, whatever it is, just being a reliable player. I don't really say, oh, I want to be a really marksman from three or, you know, a lockdown defender. I just want to be reliable on both ends of the floor. When you put me out on the court, you can rely that I'm going to do my job to the best of my ability, and you don't have to worry about, oh, we got to get Gary out of there.
All right, thanks, Gary.
No problem.
Thank you, Gary.
You guys will.
Appreciate
Thank
your
you.
time.